Okay,
You've done
that's
it.
that's the longest second. Okay, I've done it. I've pressed record. Well, okay, cool. I actually don't do intros, so hello.
Okay.
This is
Oh,
Sebpro101, and it's me, Ernest Lamb. I'm interviewing. So, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone who might not know who you are?
you're all right. Well, hey guys, I'm the prestigious Australian player Sebpro. Over the last couple of days, you might have heard of my name, but I'm actually all right at the game. Like, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right. You
I'm all
know,
right. Yeah.
pretty good. Australian top level player, top level road representative as well.
Yeah.
Been interstate, internationally as well a couple of times. Done pretty good. Um, let's start with the beginning of your career. So talk a bit about your beginnings in Smash Four.
Yeah. So I started this game because I was about I was 12 at the time, and I just got internet, and I was like, well, I bought. So it was like the Christmas after I bought the game.
Uh
I
huh.
bought both the games because you get Mewtwo, right? You get Mewtwo for free if you bought 3DS and Wii U,
I
and you
didn't
also get like
did
you
not
got a
know
really
that.
cool CD. They actually have the CD. It's like a Smash Bros. CD,
Hmm.
like the soundtrack. And I was like, I need that soundtrack because I love that like collector shit.
Yeah.
And then after I got it, I would find streams on Twitch and just like play against in like whatever the arenas
Yeah. Yeah.
with like random people. And because I'm from Australia, it back then I didn't realize like how laggy it was because I just didn't have anything better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found a streamer at the time whose name was Al Pal,
Wait,
and
really? I didn't know
yeah,
that was your
yeah,
beginning, actually.
that was my beginning. Yeah, I
That's
found
so
his
crazy.
stream. He had a Discord, and in his Discord, it was just like mainly Americans, but Al Pal,
Shout out to
me, and
Alpal.
then we used to also Smash Amino, and his you know what Smash Amino is, right? Or like Amino,
The amiibo.
Amino, like it's an app called Amino. It's
Uh,
like Reddit, but it's like based for Smash.
okay.
Well, basically, it's actually such a strange story. I didn't realize that Alpal was like Aussie or like lived near me until on Amino, he made a post and it had his like location because he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my wife's gonna like, my girlfriend's in hospital giving birth," and then the location because he posted on like Smash Amino was literally like 10 minutes from me.
You're
I'm like,
like,
wait,
what the heck?
I'm
This
like,
guy's
wait,
Australian.
and then he's like, "Hey, you should come to the tournament." I'm like, "Oh, cool." I came to a tournament. I did doubles with a guy that doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
I played against my first tournament, Swiffy, a player called Katan.
Oh.
I remember playing Bradley on doubles.
Oh, he was there as well. Damn.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like a pretty good start.
Was this
Um,
2016?
2016. Oh, yeah, 2016. But I didn't start consistently going till after BAM 2017, just
Yeah.
because yeah, living in Pac was like hard because I had to get my parents to take me everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'd go to like a monthly every month or two until BAM, and then after BAM, it's like I want to give this a go.
A proper crack.
So yeah, that's what my start was. I played a lot of Wi-Fi at the time. I still did an ultimate comparatively to a lot of top players. Not
Yeah.
anymore
Mm.
because of life, and I just like But I played a lot comparatively, and that was like my beginning.
Who did you
Um,
play from the very? Was it Rob from the very
I
beginning?
played when I played like lots of random like you know how Wi-Fi kids just play so
Yeah.
many
You
characters.
just got like a
I was
custom
like
pick.
that on Wi-Fi, but once I went to tournaments, I was like, I'm gonna play Rob, and I had a secondary of like Puff because I played Puff mainly online.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I like only ever used Puff in bucket like 3 times, and then once I was getting good, I had a Diddy Kong for ZSS and Theo.
Okay. So you had a
Um,
lot of characters, but it was
yeah,
predominantly Rob, right?
yeah.
And you
My
got
no, like, yeah.
yeah, and I guess just for the fellas that are fans of numbers, did you you got on the 40 like in your first season, second season,
I don't remember.
or something like that.
It
You
was
were
like I think my
also
second or
Rising
third
Star
season.
as well, weren't you?
I won. I don't remember. It was like yeah, I think it was Rising Star. It had a different name back then, but I won the equivalent to it. Um, and yeah, that was pretty cool. Like I was pretty happy about that. But I remember when there used to be like there was a 40, and then there's like a list of like 6 names that are like up and comers, and my name wasn't there. I remember Corvid
Oh.
being there. I'm better than Corvid. Like, why am I not there? And then, and like a season after I hit the 40, and yeah, another thing about Smash 4 that people like don't know that me and Bradley were like fucking Wi-Fi fiends. We
Yeah.
would play friendlies for literally like 20 hours and
That's
grind for literally 20 hours.
that's
And
fucked.
we had multiple Discord calls that would go up like because we would just like sleep and stay in the call. And we'd be like, hey, let's like leave the call going, right? Just for the bit. And we'd have calls go over 24 hours and reset back to like a zero timer.
Oh,
And it would be like, I don't know it's a thing. But
that's
yeah,
hidden lore, actually.
yeah, we
I
played for
also
so
didn't know that
long.
was a thing.
Yeah, we actually played like
That would
way too much. It was
destroy
like
your fucking
unhealthy.
Wi-Fi, dude. Like,
Yeah, oh, it was bad.
your
And then
mom must be paying some serious bills during those
oh,
times.
it was so funny. And then Bradley, the thing about Bradley, right? In Smash 4, he was always like a decent sized ahead of me. So those like friendly sessions were always like really important. Just
Pretty,
because,
important.
yeah, because like let's say I was HM, so he was like I think 27th on the 40, and then he got PR. I was like 25th, and then he was like top three, and I hit like 15th. So it was like I was always playing like a player that's slightly better than me,
Yeah,
and we would play like a fuck ton. It was like
I guess yeah, that
it
is
was
pretty good for your growth,
yeah
right?
yeah. I think that was like the main the main thing that molded me as a player. It was actually just Bradley completely. So
Oh,
it's like
it's really cute because you guys are still really close till this day.
yeah
Well,
yeah
at
yeah
least I think, right?
yeah,
I
yeah
mean,
we
you
are
guys went to Korea together. You
yeah.
guys went international.
We
No,
should have gone to America,
should have
but
gone
we
to America together.
yeah.
You guys are like brothers, kind of. It's pretty cute.
Like it's funny because I walk into tournaments now. I look at the Zach and like Zach and Scobo,
It's
and it's
almost
actually the same.
exactly the
No,
same.
it actually is
It's
by the way.
so
'Cause, like,
fucked.
it's actually hurts my head. I haven't told them, but they're literally just me and Bradley. Like, because they're
What?
like around the same level. Scobo's a little bit better, but they're both like freaks, and they're getting way better, like faster than
Yeah,
we
it's
did.
bro, like that's what humbles you, you know? Like you kind of like think about yourself, you're like, yeah, I did it all right, and then you're like, you know, in a few years there's always going to be another version of me that's just going to be better because that's just how time progresses, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Yes.
cute. You see them and you're like, wow. I legit thought they
Yeah.
were brothers when they first came to that
Oh
tournament,
my
and
God.
it's such a funny
Sometimes I
bit.
still get confused about which one they are, just because met them at the same time. I'm really bad. I'm good now, but I used to actually get fully
Oh,
confused.
okay, yeah, same, for sure, for sure. Also, because like they wear the mask and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, tangent aside. So you played Rob in Smash 4.
Yep.
How was he in that game?
Um, there was a lot of key differences. Mainly side B not being a move. It was actually just unusable.
Yeah, that
Um,
would make a big difference. And
that was
then beat bop
um
as well, right?
yeah, he had a 50-50, which was like good. And because of how ambiguous DI on up airs, it's like made it like pretty cringe. But
There
like a
was
lot of
some
the game ones,
notorious
the Pazek flip, like bad time.
Pazix clip with
Oh,
Leisha.
and he should have beaten Ocean as well. Oh,
That's
that was
so
bad.
funny, so
Um,
funny.
yeah, so Rob's like in that game, I always it's weird. It's like the complete opposite. In that game I thought he was better than the way he was placed on like rankings.
The classic
And
mid
now I think
tier.
it's worse.
That's the
Now I
classic
think it's worse than bottom.
the classic mid tier mental where you're
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
my character's better than this, and then you're like, when he's really good, you're like, my character's not as good as this, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's so
I mainly
funny.
picked him up.
Yeah, why did you pick
I
him?
mainly, I mainly picked up because Gyro. Like it's like so cool.
Yeah? What's your
I
favorite
just,
thing about Gyro?
it's dude, it's just it hit like I just don't know. It's just so cool.
It's just the
I just,
pop.
dude, I just love um how it like works. It's very similar to Cable Crown if you grab it. But Cable Crown is just unusable for Cable. But
Cable
it's
Crown.
just
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I love how it's just it always hits like nearly the same way. Like for
Like,
banana,
it's
like it hits
consistent.
downwards, right? Yeah, but gyros will always hit the way it's facing when you drop it,
Yep.
which is like nice. And then it has like a lot of niche things where, like the velocity of it makes it do more knockback.
Yeah.
So you can do some cringe stuff with water, and it's just like good out of shield, right?
With water?
It's I mean,
Did you do some crazy shenanigans with the hydrant in
yeah,
Smash 4?
against Copter, in America, this is Ultimate.
Okay.
We were playing, so you know the commentator from Britain, like Fabi, like Fabs.
Sure. I
He was
think it
commentating
rings a
literally
bell.
like last weekend.
Yeah.
It's like he's got the like the British accent, the
Yeah.
darker skin. He's like a freak.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like
Cool.
awesome. I played him in America, and I did that to him, and we were both like this. We were both freaking out. Like everyone in the video is like, "What are these guys on?" And it's just me killing him at like 20 with like a the jar that hits the hydrant.
Wait,
And it's
really?
like,
At 20?
yeah, yeah, because it's based on velocity, so the water is fucking.
Was it like was he off stage?
It's he was on stage. You know how you've seen the clip when Sephiroth dies instantly to Gyro, yeah?
To gyro?
Yeah,
What? No? Wait,
because
what do you
it works sometimes. Literally, Asterix. It's literally RNG,
what
but the
game are we playing?
you know the like Octo Slash, the multi hits.
Yeah.
It will pull the gyro like super fast towards Seth, and the velocity is fuck. Seth dies like 40. It's
That's
actually so funny.
that is
It's
really
so
funny. That
yeah.
is very funny. Have you
I
ever
was gonna
got
say,
it?
oh yeah,
Have you
I've
ever
gone
gotten
against
it
Strix.
on bracket?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I don't think he has Strix. Oh, I've definitely got it a couple times. It
okay.
might have not killed because it's like the velocity is not consistent, but it definitely has done way more damage than it should.
That's very funny.
It's so
Yeah,
cool.
gyro is definitely like in a game where items I wouldn't say are like inconsistent, but like there's a lot of extraneous variables that like can make it way more tricky than it should. Like especially in a set where you don't want to think too much. It's very reassuring to know like kind of consistent. Like yeah, if you place it down and you facing this way, it'll always send it no matter what. You know, like stuff like that's really cool.
Yeah,
Um, and like yeah, it's an incredibly powerful item too. So I'd imagine yeah, like any character with an item, I've always like really liked the sound of like when you play a character and you catch the item again, it makes like the
yep, yep.
it might be like one of the biggest dopamine hits in the
Oh,
game.
that's pretty good.
Bro, it's so evil. It's like every time I like fucking Zcash something, I'm like, oh, I'm so good. Every time I play Robin, I'm like, I have to get the 11 sword so I can like dribble. You know, like you throw it down and like back of a gun, and you just feel like a gangster. It's so
Yeah,
funny.
it's just like it just brings a lot into a game plan that it to me it's just like it's mainly fun. I just like having like Joe in hand, and it's
It's
also
like coincidentally
it.
very good as well.
Yeah, it's really good, and Rob definitely needs it because it's like
Of course.
actually maybe not. He'd probably be fine without Joe, but it's also like
Well, it's a very
okay, it's so
it's a
good.
very character defining tool, you know.
Yeah, it's
Especially in
built so
Smash
well for
4.
this kit. Yeah.
You know my first. Do you know my first experience with you, Seb?
Oh, what was it?
It was actually at a roundabout where I played doubles with P9 actually.
Oh,
I don't even play doubles, but like we when I was playing Mario and then he would play
yeah.
like Puff and he'd be like, "Hey, when I do if P9 was like do back throw and I'll rest," and I was like, "That's genius actually." Like who would have thought? And then I we played you and someone else. I don't know who it was. And
I
then I
don't
was like,
know.
"Oh, Sebpro, I've seen his name before." But this is when I was super new, so I was looking at like the 40 and seeing like the names and be like, "Oh, that's him, you know, that's him."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Let's do it." And I just like got destroyed in dubs, and I was like, "I have never played against a single Rob in my life." So,
It
and
might have been like Alpha probably to be honest.
yeah, it was, dude. It was the image of like you with like an umbrella or something,
Huh?
like a parasol. I think you had like a rainbow
Yeah,
parasol.
that's me. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a Splatoon because I played a weapon in Splatoon, at least in Splatoon 2 because now it's shit. They nerfed it. It's like an umbrella. And
yeah.
it's like a shotgun, but when you hold the shot, the umbrella will open.
That's probably
And
it. Yeah,
I took a photo of it like at PAX because like Splatoon's like really big at PAX.
yeah,
That's like the one time I see all my Splatoon mates,
yeah.
and I that umbrella, it's like custom made by Alley Cat. I don't know if you know Alley Cat.
No.
But she's been in the brawl scene for. She used to run brawl events. She
Oh, cool.
came to Big Cheese and it's like helped a tiny bit, but she doesn't really do Smash stuff anymore. She's Splatoon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I took that umbrella to America and I had a photo of like the person who made Splatoon because he was at the hotel we were at. I was like, hey
Oh,
man, like you're cool. I love your game. Take a photo of this custom umbrella. He's like, okay, or whatever.
okay.
I mean, I don't know. It was just like he didn't understand what I said, but I
Yeah,
was for a photo.
sure. That's really cute.
Yeah, it's like oh, it's so
Yeah,
good.
so I always in my head associate you with the umbrella, at least
Oh, that's
In Smash
that's a bit
4.
strange.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but,
You can't forget someone's first ever impressions, you know?
yeah,
So yeah, you got Rising Star, you did really
yeah,
well, and then all of a sudden Ultimate. You got PR your first ever
yeah.
the first ever season of Ultimate. Was that the first time you've PR'd?
Um, yes, but let's just say I should have PR'd the
Okay.
last one.
Okay.
Have you probably heard the story? Have you heard the story?
bits and pieces from
Uh,
like various people,
well,
not yourself.
Jason had the last PR,
Uh-huh.
and it was about to be released, but there's 1 month left. I was HMs on that PR. Literally seen my name on HMs on that PR, and at the Stay Smash at the time it was the last monthly. Is me versus Hoodkins game 5.
Oh
We
shit.
were both at 150. Actually, no, I think yeah, we're about 150 each.
Uh-huh.
He side Bs and he whiffs. So I up air. I'm like, cool, I win. He still
Oh.
kind of up air, like this is me, this is him. He side Bs and just up airs at like 150 on the ground. I die, and I that cost my PR spot. The weekends with HMs instead, and it broke my heart completely because I knew that set was like I'm gonna
A
make the
defining
HMs on the last
moment
PR.
for you. Yeah.
But like now, I'm still sad. I'm still salty about that. Actually, I felt that weekend sad. Every time I'm like, dude, you shouldn't have won that set.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's whatever. But yeah, I got hate. I got I've been like had a number on every PR since Ultimate's release, which is
Yeah.
like cool. I was looking, and it was Dean, right, who made a tweet saying Bradley, Seb, John are the only ones that have been on it, and extras like in that weird spot where one season wasn't playing. Um, which is like I guess cool. When I was like doing bad this season, I was like I want to keep that stat because it's like I guess a good stat to have.
It's a sign of like
Consistency.
dominance. You know, it's like
Yeah,
yeah, like no matter like where what time in the season or like in the game's lifespan in this scene at least you've always been there like one of the top to like have to duke it out. So yeah, it's pretty it's quite impressive really.
yeah.
Um, so I want to talk a bit about Rob in this game. So we've gone from the mid tier hero in Smash 4 to top tier, high tier, maybe. What is your opinion on Rob?
Definitely
Completely honest, by the way. Like,
very
go ahead.
bottom of top tier.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
in my head, top tier is like 12 characters.
Yeah. 12
Probably.
characters. Yeah. So bottom of top tier. Why?
He has the option to be-
Actually, sorry.
Okay,
Before that,
okay.
do you like Rob in this game? Which
Yeah.
might sound like a dumb question because like you've been
That's
maining
fair
him, but like I know some people that like will play a character and might not exactly enjoy them as much as like the next guy. But
I really like Rob. He
uh-huh.
obviously has probably really strong weaknesses, which as a player are also my weaknesses. So they're actually like Omega weaknesses.
Yeah, they like
But I don't know if,
exacerbate your
yeah,
yeah.
but I don't know if they're like weaknesses because I've only been playing Rob, or just because they're actually just that bad. But I'm pretty sure it's just because of like his disadvantage and stuff is just pretty
Mm,
bad against the characters I play against. So it's just like in my head a lot worse than I think it is.
yeah.
But I do really enjoy Rob just because, like I said, gyro, and it's got like a lot of moves that are just very. They work. Oh, they have a dopamine hit when they definitely shouldn't. Like
What do
like
you
down tilt chains, back air. That is too good. You know, that is too good.
You're like, oh, this is a bit evil, but I do like
Down tilt did
some
not feel
evil.
good in Smash 4, but it feels so good. They buffed it so hard. It was
Yeah,
insane.
there's a few of those moves where they just like
Yeah,
insanely buffed, and you're like,
yeah,
wow, this move is just like too good now. It's like
yeah.
Luigi dash attack is one of those moves
Oh
actually.
my god,
But yeah, they
evil move.
just made it like so evil. Even his down, I don't remember what his down tilt was like in Smash 4, but like in this game,
Yeah, I mean,
it's also really good too. And you're just
yeah.
like, fuck, like they just made all these down tilts to be like so good. Um, but yeah, so yeah, like I mean, I enjoy fucking playing Rob too. Like I hit like a nair, I'm like, oh, I feel so good right now. It's like,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
yeah, like something about slow moves with gigantic fucking hitboxes. I'm just sending it. I don't care. Like I don't care if it's slow. I'm just sending it. It's fucking huge, anyways. Feels pretty insane. But yeah, back to how good you think he is. Like, why do you explain your thought process about Rob as a character?
Like just
Yeah, like I interrupted you a bit before, but
yeah,
yeah.
like just explain like the retrospect of what
Well, okay, let's
Rob is
talk
in the
about.
meta.
Okay, so what holds him back in your opinion? Let's start.
Okay,
Let's start there.
cool.
Let's start there.
Number one is out of shield, and number two is disadvantage.
Okay, out of
And
shield.
disadvantage is like on a whole as like in the corner, and also like landing and at ledge.
Uh-huh.
Off stage is like really good until you hit the ledge.
Until you hit the
Like
ledge.
yeah, and even if you go above ledge, it also just sucks because you can't land. Because you have to mix up an air dodge, which in my brain is still like a really bad option, even though I should mix it up way more. It's like terrible. Because
Mm.
it's awkward. Get up, neutral get up and stuff. It's like
He's got
fine, but
yeah, he doesn't
his
have
well sucks.
amazing he doesn't have amazing ledge options for sure.
Yeah,
His most like I guess custom stuff can be like the ledge drop mix-ups because
yeah.
you have like the I don't know what the up B is called. Burn?
Uh, Robo burner
Robo
something.
burn up B is
Yeah,
like really good to like as like mix-ups because you can like continue it's like a prolonging resource.
yeah,
But like aside from that, he doesn't really have like a flip kick. He doesn't have like a minecart or
yeah,
anything, you know, like most he because he's so fucking big and his neutral getup's actually like kind of slow. It's like it suffers from like a very classic problem a lot of heavies have. Um,
yeah.
but yeah. So like why do you think like yeah, like unpack a bit, like why at least do you think his disadvantage is bad or like your disadvantage as a player is exponentially bad? Like let's talk a bit about it.
Um,
Have you ever like
I
sat to
think
consider or just like think mm, like why is it
I
this
don't
way?
think my ads is will be liked, but to be
Sure.
honest,
No, just go for it.
there is in Victoria. Let's say I was like number fifth. Like it was like the five gods, right?
Yeah.
For so long,
Uh-huh.
and I was always the lowest of that. Besides the season I played Min probably. Um, I looked at a matchup chart earlier just because I was like, I want to double check if my stats are right. But on Zombies matchup chart, there's five unwinnable matchups, like unwinnable.
Unwinnable.
Game and Watch, by the
Right.
way, which is one of the five gods. Young
Yep.
Link, which is one of the five gods. Wario is in losing, and then Bin is just a god. And those are the other four. And Strix moves to Vic, and Roy is in unwinnable. So they're actually all just unwinnable, mainly because of like their disadvantage and their combo game. And it's just
Right.
like, I mean, it's definitely winnable, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
just because
Okay.
I just outplay her. I'm just better than everyone, right? Because I beat Jono sometimes, beat Bin Nick sometimes, and Strix is just a freak. That's unwinnable. Um, but actually, it's so bad. Like they don't understand how bad it is.
What do you
And that's
think they
probably
don't
why
what do you think they don't understand about
I was like Strix. Yes, Strix. This is unwinnable. Like
so
literally word for word.
context for when this
Oh
gets
yeah,
uploaded, Seb played Pixel yesterday and
yeah.
lost to
I,
Jono
I beat
and
Ghost, lost to Jono game five,
beat
and lost to
Ghost. So you beat the best player in the
3-1.
country.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, well done. But then you lose to the second best player in the
Strix,
country and the
yeah,
third best player in the country
yeah. That sucks.
to
Anyway,
to
I
get
was like,
third out of
I was
local.
molding out a little bit
Yeah.
because I was like, this in my head, in like mid game, I was getting hit by like bullshit. I was like, I like his fast, like Roy's a fast ball, so it's really hard to combo because he goes a lot lower,
Mm.
and trading is like useless because it's like all my aerials are slower, smaller, and weaker, and getting hit by weak aerials is more annoying with Rob because puts me in hit stun. I can't fast fall. I will waste my jump, uh, or I'll just land with like a nair, and he's just faster. So I literally like getting hit by weak up air is so much more annoying than getting hit by normal up air.
Oh,
By
for
the way,
sure. Like
it is
because
actually
it's just an
stupid.
evil frame trap. Like you
Yeah,
don't have frame advantage, and even though they don't get something true, you get frame trapped, and it's like, well,
yeah.
this is evil. Hey.
And I was like, Strix, this is unwinnable. How do I beat Roy? And it's like, just throw me off stage, man. I'll just die. I'm like, dude. I mean, I'll give it up, but also like,
I'll give it up.
no,
No.
absolutely
I'll
not.
give it up, but you're
Like,
stupid.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Because it's just like, Roy's up B is actually a lot better than it seems on paper. The fire, I mean, it's not
Well,
amazing, but it's
well, okay. Well,
way better than,
this is known. We all
yeah,
know that Roy up
yeah,
like just when the initial game when the game came out and we were just comparing like not when the game came out but like 2019 at some point people were comparing like Crom and Roy and we were like yeah like Roy having just like that extra two layers of mix-ups is like changes the whole fucking game compared to Crom, you
yeah,
know? And it's like yeah, it actually matters. It's a very good kind of angular up B. So, but like if you read it, like he's dead, right? But like you know,
yeah.
there is
His
a lot
airspeed's
of
also really annoying to deal with.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, he's just like throw me off stage and you kill me.
But like that's literally the one thing in neutral. It's almost like It's really hard to find an answer besides stray hits, which also Rob does. I feel like doesn't get too much of a stray hit. Like Fair's kind of weak. Nair's like good, but like it's very committal for only one hit in.
Right.
Um, and it's just like yeah. So like Rob, let's go back to like the actual question. What are Rob's weaknesses? So
Okay.
it's like a little bit more palatable for people listening.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
that's a lot more catered to me, the strict
Sure.
stuff.
Sure.
Landing is very hard just because my quickest aerial is Nair, which is frame like 14, but it starts behind me, so it's actually like in front of me like 17, 18,
Yeah.
which is on the verge of reactable. But if you're anticipating me, it's like really easy to like out hit me in the air. Um, my fair is a good one, but it will not hit the ground if you're
You have
like let's
to.
say Joker dashing. If you're Roy dashing, it won't hit. Like it won't hit short characters on rising.
Well, we're talking about like
Um,
on the like in neutral now.
like it's like landing with it.
Oh,
I mean,
landing.
it's
Right.
also the same in neutral. Like out of shield, fair's the good one, right? But it
Yeah.
won't hit like a Royal or Joker or Sheik dashing towards me because of how low it is. Roy's, I love fair. It's like that. That's the hitbox, but the hitbox is only like actually that. So the arc doesn't hit above
It's
or under
something
him.
like what 2 frames, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Actually, I don't know the frame, but it doesn't hit like above and below him like the
Yeah,
hitbox does.
it's not like yeah, it doesn't look as if like where the hands are because
Yeah.
I remember looking at it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like Lucina Fair, except it doesn't have like the bottom part.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like the top.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
And it's ledge. I guess it's just every heavyweight, but it's like
you got like for landing, you have some mix-ups. Like you have I mean like you can having a charge, you can do like B reverse charges and shit, right? Like
yeah,
that's
yeah, that it is good, but it means I need to either waste my jump or air dodge to get out of the charge, which is
yeah.
probably the issue because because I'm a floaty, falling is takes a long time. Um,
Mm,
so it's I have to like dampy and then like air dodge fast fall, but then I waste my air dodge or I dampy and jump. I have no jump for landing, and I'm a floaty, so I'm like higher. It'll take me like another like half a second to land,
yeah.
and uh.
It's a bit
It's
spooky, right?
awkward. It is
Like
awkward.
if sometimes like the way like I've always like had or like conceptualized Rob's like disadvantage and I've always struggled against it was always because I'm like the up B feels like it's like a float, you know, it's like an additional
Yeah.
mixer where you can kind of like stall for a bit and like bait people out and like kind of like make them undershoot so you can like get out of
Mm.
disadvantage. So that's always been like really good for me. And even like people like Michael or like Mod have been using stuff like down airs to like store momentum and like
Yeah.
put a hitbox down. Obviously you can't do it like on space. You have to like make sure that the height you do it in is a good height. I mean like it does feel like there's a lot of these things that can just be like easily preventable, or like nullified, right? These mix-ups. But like I feel like there's some stages like okay, let's say like if you take away FD, right? Like Battlefield I feel like is incredibly good, especially because the top platform gives Rob that like
Yep.
that lease in life, or like even stages like PS2, right? Like,
Mm.
but I mean I don't know. I'm not the Rob main, so
Yeah. I never find stages like an issue. I think he's like strong. I don't think the stage format matters too much. It's very matchup dependent on if I can't land or what. I like some characters like unusable in certain stages because let's say slants or platform layout like mess with the combos. But
right.
Rob's not like that at all. So I don't have to worry about platforms messing with combos or having trouble with like ledges
But like
on
I
platform
just mean
layout.
like in terms of like if some stages might lend better for
Yeah.
disadvantage, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, okay. So yeah, like his disadvantage for sure is like definitely his biggest weakness. But like there's still like you still see people, you know, like getting like good results, and like not like completely like getting negated by certain like characters, right? I mean, like I think Zomba is like he's really good, but he also just doomers out
Yeah,
against
yeah,
some
yeah.
people for sure, right? But like look at I think like I think about people like Anathema.
Yep.
um he seems to be doing really, really well, and like he's able to overcome a lot of like trouble matchups and stuff. Like recently at DreamHack that happened like a few days ago, he beat Goblin for the first time, and he like popped off, and I was like, whoa!
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Goblin was 7-0 up on Anathema, but I was watching him playing against Roy, right? And I was like, ah, yeah, like this seems a bit suffocating, hey. But he was doing some. He was really good with his movement, kept
Yeah.
moving around, always threatening the gyro toss, like doing like turnaround gyro threat and it was like,
Mm.
yeah, like if it, like so like, yeah, like the way I kind of like think about Rob is like he always has like something to do, and like he
Yeah.
there is it feels like there's always like an option, right? And the win con is always there. Like I think like it can be very disheartening versus like a bad matchup, especially as like a heavy, right? Um, like like playing like heavy into like Palu, Roy, all these characters and stuff. But like, I think there's something. At least this is how I felt like even when I was playing Mario in Smash Four, right? I was like, it doesn't matter like how many times I die. It's like if I can get that like one neutral opening,
Mm.
I can maybe kill them. That can be my win con, right? So that kind of gives me a bit of like hope. And I feel like some Rob in some areas is kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these matchups on paper, like Mario and like shit like that, they do seem bad, but like it feels like if you just get that read, sometimes you just kill them really early, and that just changes the entire game. And having like an X factor like that, I at least for me, I like rate a lot. I'm like, wow, that's like a very strong kind of thing to have.
Yeah.
How
And
much?
it's really
Yeah.
hard
How
for
would
Rob
you
to get hit
valid
by that stuff.
as it's Rob to land that stuff?
No, to get hit by that stuff, because like I say, it's like an early gimp or stuff like that. It's just
Oh
because your
yeah,
core is too good to get hit by similar stuff, or like
yeah,
let's say like a buffet air dodge because of offstage pressure. It's like pretty easy to live, which is like a good thing about Rob's like up B. It's very strong in its case where I can't get like super boomed off stage with like an air dodge.
yeah. You
I mean,
don't
like
get
even
like
if
you
you
don't
run off
get
stage
Diddy
air dodge, you're
Konged,
probably
you
gonna
know.
die, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like Diddy, I know Jason hates Diddy Kong because it's just
Yeah,
like
just because
sometimes you just like get hit at zero and you die, and it's like, well, yeah, that must suck. Even Roy to some extent, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but like, yeah, Rob is like has that villager effect where it's like it doesn't matter how far away you get hit, you always have a at least a chance to get back.
yeah,
Not saying it's like free, but there's a chance, right?
yeah. I get you.
But yeah, how would you rate like the X factor that Rob has? When you consider him as a character, like, do you think it's like what I said before is like very credible? Do you think it's kind of like a bit of like, yeah, it's true, but also people suck, sort of deal?
Um, yeah, I think people suck. I mean, Rob's definitely really good, but the meta has always shifted against him just with him being like it usually is like that, right? Heavyweights, or let's say characters with worse disadvantage usually do better because they're a bit more unknown. And
At
now
the
it's
start,
let's say
and then they
we're about 4 years into the like not 4 hours, 4 years into the game.
characters
There's
like
been
Bowser
no
drop
patch.
off.
Yeah, yeah. There's been no patches. Rob's the exact same for all 4 years. His weaknesses are as the same. They didn't get fixed. Um, even though one of them should have got fixed.
Which one?
The shield poke one.
Oh yeah, that's a
Um,
bit
so
evil.
let me actually. There's a story in Smash Four. Rob had a hurt box, yeah, and just in a random patch. No, obviously, sorry. He had a
Yeah.
hurt box, and in a random patch, they made his hurt box like 5% bigger,
Uh huh.
and they didn't change his shield size. Like they made his hurt box 5% bigger, but didn't even change his shield 5% bigger. So he just get poked all the time. Like, and in this game, they fixed everyone's shields. Like they fixed Olimar's, they fixed whoever's, and I was like, come on, you made Rob's hurt box bigger, and didn't touch his shield, so he gets poked all the time. Please. And no one fucking listened to me. God didn't listen. Like, they didn't help me. Like that's like why Rob gets poked, right? It's just because his hurt box is bigger than it like was designed for when they made the shield. And it's just
Yeah,
like
you have to like
it's just like
overcompensate with like a lot of like shield tilting, and even then
it's
that might
literally
not save you, right?
if I get hit, if I hold my shield for like 20 to 40 frames, a spaced young fair will poke a fresh shield that's been held up for like 40 frames.
Yeah.
It's like insane. It's really cringe, but like, what can you do? Yeah, but I think Rob's just always shift away from the meta because a lot of his stuff is unknown. Like not unknown, but like it takes a lot of time for the newer players to get used to gyro, and match up niches and stuff. Because that's obviously one of the strongest parts, right? If you play against, I'm sure you understand when you were new, like Nair would probably in your head be like, "Wow, this is so good," and Gyro's like, "Oh, I'm gonna jump to get away from Gyro," and you get
Definitely
knocked out
big
in the
knowledge
air.
checks.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it's
neutral
just
get
like
up being into like a kill setup,
yeah,
for the first
it's
time,
just
and you're
like
like, oh, I guess I die here. Yeah.
it is strong, but it's also something you get a lot better against with the practice.
Yeah.
And the game meta always shifts for characters that are fast, always, just because how it is. So characters like
Sonic.
all the sorties, Sonic, Young Link, Roy,
How about Inkling?
uh, Inkling. Okay, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to
Sure,
Inkling.
sure, sure, sure. You got a
Uh,
bit to say about Inkling too.
I do.
how
And it's like the meta always shifts with fast characters. Sheik as well. Sheik is one that everyone thought was terrible.
how about
It was very
Byleth?
good. Byleth's not fast though.
That's
But
but
Byleth's like okay.
I know, but I'm saying because Byleth is slow, but the meta has shifted towards Byleth as well.
No. Everyone just thought Byleth was dog shit, but Byleth's actually just okay.
Well, she's pretty good. Like
But I don't think she's above Rob. She's good, but she's not
well,
above Rob.
I'm also saying like the meta, not in terms of like who people rate as top tiers and stuff, but it's more like
Right.
relevancy, right? Like the
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
yeah. But I mean, look, I kind of get what you mean. Like
Yeah.
fast characters naturally will inevitably
Yeah.
get better and better and better. But like I still think that there are some characters that are like slower, but like are gaining more relevance, right? And I think you can say that might be like extraneous variables. That might be just like this one guy who just loves this character is a freak. But at the same time, you can also think of it like maybe it's a sign that this game is like saying something, right? Like there's like something more valuable than just like strictly like the numbers and stuff. Like look at
Yeah.
Falco. I think Falco is an interesting case where this character's like kind of like
Like-
aside from the obvious bad matchup, right? Like
Yeah.
for that you have Falco is a very slow character, and I know for a fact that like so many people were like, this character is just like a meme, like not a meme, but like this is like a big like gimmicky like slow character, like he's not actually as good as it is, but like you keep looking at the meta and you're like, Falco is pretty good, like you see how he does into some really good characters, like Rob for example, right? And you're like, well, this is a slow character, like you said, you know. So, what that got to say about some slow characters? Even
Wait.
even like what's the word? Even like Peach. Peach is like fast up close, but slow overall, right? You know what I mean? But like, you know,
Yeah.
she's like, she has always been like a titan in the meta. So, what do you have to say about that? Like,
I mean they're slow, like movement wise, but the areas are like all good. I in my mind I'm thinking about like moves instead of like speed.
right? Okay.
Because with how the game shifted compared to Smash 4, shielding is a lot weaker
Yep.
and defense is a lot weaker.
Yep.
It's okay. Defense is fine if it's like completely running away, but besides like the shielding or
There's no
being
over reliance
disadvantaged
on like perfect
Yeah.
shielding everything
yeah,
to getting your
It's
50-50
like-
throws.
I would parry moves and sometimes they're still just unsafe. And at least with Rob, it's like I can't do anything against most aerials even if I parry, and they're perfectly spaced, because most aerials will just low profile my up smash will be too slow. Grab has the shields, the +4 frames, whatever. So it's like
Well, grab
Well,
isn't because of the +4 frames, because you're parrying though. Grab is because your grab's really
Yeah,
really
yeah.
small.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like the +4 frames, yeah, it's just after getting hit, it's not parry's fine. But yeah, it's definitely awkward. I feel like the characters that have like faster moves to react up close and hit shield and always be safe and always will be very strong. Young Link's one of them. Like obviously Young Link in neutral's pretty bad, but Jono is like so good at making a wall that you just can't go through, and if you try to approach the wall, you might just end up taking 40.
I think Young Link's
Um,
neutral's his best part actually. Like
I mean, okay,
maybe
his
okay.
neutral's good, but like approaching and getting a kill is like pretty
Yeah,
idiot.
that's the hard part, right?
Like yeah, it's like pushing advantage. Like advantage is fine, but pushing advantage is something that's meaningful is a bit tricky.
Hmm.
Yeah, Rob's like fine. Like he'll always be good. He'll always be like a very good character. He'll probably always be like solo viable. But there's gonna be some matchups where it's like you're gonna have to severely outplay your opponent, in so many aspects. Not even one aspect, where it's like very consuming. And if you have to play multiple of them in a day, you might just want to die.
It's
like,
definitely
it's-
taxing on the mental.
It's pretty taxing. But
So-
like, he's definitely a fine character.
so
But everyone, on Twitter that says, "Oh,
Oh, you
this character's the
segued
best."
for me.
I know. I'm just too good. Everyone's like, "Oh, this character's like the best." I mean, I love Ghost, but I hate that guy sometimes. He's like, he just walks up. He's like, "Dude," I'm like, "Steve's so good." He's like, "Yeah, but you're playing the best character in the game." I'm like, "Shut up. Rob is not that good, man." And it's just like people on Twitter. It's like, let's say Zomba getting sad over a loss. But, usually it is pretty meme. Like, it's pretty dumb. Zomba's like, Solo's unwinnable, which is so fake, by the way. Solo, blah blah blah. Oh, every
He's just
tournament.
meme
Oh, this matchup's
salting,
hard.
salt meming.
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, you just suck. You playing Rob, lol." And it's just like, dude, oh wait, Rob's not that good. Like, people don't. It's like if Spargo said, he literally does make tweets. Pyroth is not good enough for me. He doesn't work with my play style. I'm gonna play whatever Cloud. People in the if Zomba said that, they'll say, "Lol, you play Rob." But if Zomba's like if like Spargo's like, "I don't want to play Pyroth, they don't work enough in the meta," people will be like, "Lol, Pyroth." No one will say that because it's Spargo.
Do you
Since
think
he's
there's a
playing
bit of like what's the word? Girl who cried wolf?
yeah, probably.
Kid who cried wolf? Is that what it's called?
I mean, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Um, I think Rob is not as good as what people think, and ever since the start of the game, if I voice that, people will just be like, "Lol, Rob," and it's like whatever. But Rob, low key, if you play the character against a competent player, you're gonna be on the ground 70. You'll be in the air in disadvantage for 70% of the match, and you don't know what to do with Jaro unless you play like this character for so long. Like if you watch like an okay player, like let's say you play Rob against I don't know, Shrix. Like, I don't know how well that would go, actually. It's just, like, really hard, because...
I mean, I think if I played like any character that wasn't Lucina, would
Yeah, true.
go
I
the
feel like it's
same. It would go the same
it
way.
might be a bit of a player gap, sorry. Let's say you versus Newt. Actually,
Oh,
I
is
want
that
to see that.
wait? So you're
Oh,
saying like like me versus someone that's close to me.
yeah. I
Oh,
feel
okay.
like if you played Rob, it would go a lot worse than if you played, like, a character around his tier. Just because against like a player that knows what they're doing. If you're playing against a noob, like he's probably actually way better.
I've definitely played Rob into Newt, and
A
it's
bit,
like
yeah.
I'm like, oh, like I see what what's the word, why like Michael struggles, or like why Radio hates the matchup. Like I see what he
Yeah.
means. It's like definitely like very hard to just like get hit by a nair, and then you get hit up air, and then you're like, well, I have to burn a resource, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
roll a dice.
It's like fine, but like yeah, the Twitter memes of everyone like saying Rob's like really good is actually cringe. I hate when I'm at like a tournament, I'm just like salting out for like a couple minutes, and I'm just like talk to a top player. I'm like, dude, how do I win that matchup? And then it's like, literally, you know what everyone says?
What do they
Throw
say?
me off stage. I don't
Yeah.
want that useless information. Like
Yeah.
I know, like off stage is like advantage. I want to know
Definitely
to do
one of the
neutral.
most
And it's actually
annoying.
impossible.
You have to. I know exactly what you mean, because
Yeah,
Jono's really stupid sometimes.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like Jono, like help me. A part of it is our fault, right? Like we're not specific
Yeah.
enough for the noobs, like Jono. Um, but Jono will be like, yeah, just go get me off stage. That's where Lucina's like at her bet, and I'm like, yeah, like I am aware of this
How do
actually,
I get
but
you off stage?
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
can't
that's
break your
not what
walls.
I'm asking. But yeah, you have to kind of be, I guess, specific if you're the one to ask the questions. But I wanna, yeah, like, so touch on some bases. You think that Rob is like good, like solo viable,
Yeah,
good enough,
yeah,
but you think that they're going to have to like work very hard for some problem matchups, because these problem
yeah,
matchups are like very, very hard to deal with, right?
yeah.
I think that's I think that's a pretty like that was a pretty like mid warm kind of take. I'm like, yeah, like that just makes sense. Like I was
Yeah,
expecting
it's
like but here's the thing, right? Like so this is where it gets like a bit uncomfortable, because now you have the public perception of the character, right? And you have, Smash discourse, and you know what I think majority of it, and like why it's manifested into the way it is right now, it's because of like when you kind of like talk online about things like this, right? I think the community is really like, especially platforms like Twitter, they don't promote good discussion, which
Yep.
is known, right? This is known. But what it means is that it it promotes like very over exaggerated statements that lack nuance, and people who don't know better will just ride on this bad wagon. And they see someone be like, yeah, like Rob's top one, without really like truly thinking about what that means. Or they'll be like, yeah, Rob is like really good, or Rob is like not as good as people think, guys. And then everyone's just really quick to take a side, you know. And it's like, why are we all so quick on taking sides as opposed to like, you know, discussing something first, right? And I know for a fact that, you know, people like P9, people like a lot of people online and stuff that like perpetually live, you know, like they're like soldiers on the line. They're like waiting for someone to say something stupid. And they're like, boom, got you. Like I'm there. You know, it's like they it's like they will see you say something, right, that might sound dumb out of context, and they'll just like flame you for it. And then when you're like, why is everyone like so stupid or stuff, they'll point out like your points. You know, you'll be like, yeah, but you say this, like you obviously like don't know what you're thinking. And it's like, I think the reason why is kind of both sides like not giving each other enough credit though. It's like when they think you say something like, you know, Rob's not that good, guys, they don't actually consider the fact that you probably are smart enough to realize that the character's good, right? And when you say that sort of stuff, you mean it like, oh, like in terms of where you guys think he is, there's like he's not that good, because in your head you're like, in your head you're like, the people don't consider these variables enough, right? Like these weaknesses enough. And you're probably like, how would they know? They don't play this character, right? And then in their head, it's like, Seb doesn't consider his character strengths enough. You know, like he just keeps complaining. How can he say that when, you know, Rob can kill you at 30 with down air or with side B?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like both of you guys are like kind of like looking past each other, or looking at like an idealized image of each other and like flaming that, and then you have the shit in between, and it's like, oh, this is just this weird Twitter discourse that doesn't amount to anything except more animosity, or like it's like a dot on you. It's like a damage over time that like ticks. At least that's what it seems like, right? I think the saddest thing about it is that stuff like that can seem harmless like one or two times, right? But then when it perpetuates for like 5 years and it manifests, it's like fucking still water, you know, it becomes poisonous over time. Like Goinmu shit. Yeah, and then it creates this kind of atmosphere where it's almost like you can't say anything anymore because you just get flamed for it, right?
Yeah.
That's probably how you feel, right?
Yeah.
And unless
if I go to tournament and I'm like, if let's say it's me and John at a setup, and I'm like, he's like winning for some reason, like that doesn't happen often. But if we're playing friendlies and he's winning, and it's like, I asked for something, I'm like, hey, like, in this situation right here, it's like, what do I do? Like, it's actually unplayable. It's like, lol, you play Rob or whatever. I'm like, come on, man, come on. Like, it's actually so hard. Or like,
yeah, it sucks.
I don't like, a lot of characters have it worse than me, but obviously every character in this game does have something like a disadvantage to beat them. But, so it's like fine, and people like are fine to say it. My opinion's like wrong, but I feel like Rob got a little bit of an oversight with swapping between the games, where a lot of his stuff is disadvantageous stuff. Is a lot stronger in this game because of how they've changed the engine. So his weaknesses in Smash 4 were already his disadvantage, and they've made the disadvantage in this game a lot worse, and added shield a lot worse. So it's just added a bit on, but it's like fine. It is like, if they just fix like the shield, I would honestly just be completely fine with it. And shield like maybe just revert that 5% increase to his body in Smash 4, because that would probably be like fine, because I'd get hit a little bit less.
Do you think you can, because that's probably never gonna like, you know, that's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah, it won't happen.
Like, do you reckon like it's something that you can like come to terms with and like learn to like deal with? I mean, like you already are by like continuing to play this character, right? That's a statement in itself. But I mean more like, Do you reckon you can ever be at peace with that sort of stuff?
Um, I can live with it, but I won't be at peace with it. I'll always hold against Sakurai. I'll be
Yeah.
my deathbed. I'll be like, Sakurai, my life would be so much different if you just fixed your
Uh,
shield. I just like the frog in Shrek. Is it Shrek? When it's just like,
he's
oh,
just like his
oh,
final words, and then he just.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's a good one. Like, yeah, definitely. Like some things, like everyone has those things, you know. Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, I wish Dancing Blade was made consistent, you know, or like
Yep.
some other like the Pika players would be like, you know, I wish like this part of my multi hit would be consistent, you know. There's always going to be things like that, especially in the nature of like a game like Smash, which is so high variance, right? Uh,
Yep.
but like, do you reckon like do you reckon like that caps you, or do you think it's all just like in your head though?
Uh, definitely a lot of it's mental, for sure. It would be a lot different if I lived in the scene as well that didn't have like the hard matchups, that emphasize on
They
the
really punish
bad stuff.
those specific
Yeah,
aspects. Yeah, it would be
yeah.
a lot more
It
different,
actually
right?
like it's pretty like it's fine. Like I live in a place with like really good players, and they've just all somehow just picked the one like goes to, like destroy Rob, which I get. It's good practice, but it's like demoralizing a lot just because of It's like, oh, if I decided to play a different character, I have better luck. Even then, I could just swap, but it's like Rob would probably be like it's a character I always have the most fun with. And if I did travel, I feel like it would be like I've had practice against all the hard matchups. I've had a bit of practice against all the even matchups and fine matchups. It's just like it's good practice. It's just demoralizing having that. Um, the goal to being first in Victoria, it's like I have to severely outplay everyone for a season straight. Where I've had times where it's like I've beaten Jono for a couple of weeks, I've beaten Tricks a couple times, I've had like a couple winning sets, but doing all three at the same time, like with Nick, like peak Nick, Tricks, Jono, is like so like time consuming and taxing because they're obviously losing matchups. You have to use your brain so much, and you have to think about it even when you're not playing the game. Like before bracket, literally driving to the tournament, you'd be like, "This situation's gonna happen," and you'd
Yeah,
be ready
yeah,
for it. And it's just
you're like
like,
seeing the chessboard up
it's
there. You're like, oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's just like, oh, there's so much I need to be, like, I need to take care of. Like if I lived in Sydney, it's like Pikachu's and Royce, but none of them are. Okay, none of them would be ranked above me. It's just like the goal to being first as well, because obviously I want to be the best I can be, but the goal, it's like a gap. From I'm probably gonna be third or fourth on this PR, so it's like really close, right? But in my mind, it will always be like that is such a huge gap still. That is going from like third or fourth to first is way harder from going to 10th to fifth
for sure,
because of like
for
just
sure.
because of how good Strix and Jono are, and also just the extra annoyance of the matchups.
Yeah, for sure. And like
Yeah,
you really want that, right? Like you want that before you
yeah,
die. That first
yeah.
place.
I mean, I don't know how known it is, but I don't think Jono and Strix have a long time left playing this game.
They don't.
I have less than a year probably to outplace them both,
It's a very bad feeling.
which is it is
Like because you're like
scary.
you know you want what's best for them, but you also like I want to beat you before you
Yeah,
become
yeah,
like a retiree playing Ganondorf.
yeah.
You know, like
Because it's like
I want that on you before you go. You know, it's kind of like
hmm
that. Um,
yeah. And I thought about it the other day, like as I was just driving to catch my cross up. I was like, I mean, I could win. It's doable. I had a win at a major on every Australian top player besides Bradley.
yeah,
And I beat Bradley, and I'm like, okay, I've beaten everyone before. I've beaten Nick. Well, he wasn't there, but Nick at
every single
Sunshine,
person. Yep.
Strix at OHN, Jono at BAM,
Bing.
Bradley today, Ghost at whatever. Bit doesn't count.
Aha!
I've
Damn.
been at pre weeklies, but I've only
Yeah.
played him at one major.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've only played him at BAM.
He's eluded you, but he'll be around for
Yeah,
long, so don't worry.
I
You'll get
yeah,
your head on him.
I'll get my chance.
Yeah, he's not
It's
leaving
just like
anytime soon.
I know. I got my win on like all of them. So on like a day where I was like peak, I know I could beat everyone and win like a big event. I still haven't won a Rambat. So having a goal of winning like a major is a bit far fetched, but also it's like I can do it, so it should be in my mind.
Yeah,
It's just like so doable. I want to do it before like
they
Jono,
retire.
Shooks, and Dunzo. I mean, even though like what I've done so far in this game is like something to be like completely proud of already. It's like it'll always feel like a hole I need to fill by beating like by winning something. Like even like like a monthly that would be good because like the monthly is like a top level stack as a major basically nearly because of
Yeah, like it
Victoria's.
means it means something, you know. Like people
Yeah,
take pride in winning Rambats for sure.
yeah. It's just like oh, I need to do that before they're done though, and it's like oh, the scene will be so different if they're not here, but you have to choose time before
Yeah,
they move on and shit, and it's like fuck. Because I know Jason has said it. Like I have a lot of like booms at the game, so like weeks off every once in a while.
yeah,
And Jason's like, Seb, you're so addicted to this game, you're not gonna quit anytime soon. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. It's like
yeah.
I always keep coming crawling back, always crawling back.
Because you want that you want that win. You want that.
The game's just too good, and I'm still like relatively really young,
Yeah,
but I can just have a casual job and just travel, which is really nice.
it is
Which is
nice.
what I want to do more. Just yeah,
Do you reckon if you travel, you can do really well with a character
yep,
that as
yep.
popular as Rob? Yeah.
I think I could easily be the best Rob in America and Europe.
Wow. Wow.
I think that is such an easy, it's a doable goal.
Why do
Like
you think
that
that's so
is,
easy?
okay, maybe not easy, but it's doable. It is definitely not out of reach. I
Yeah.
think Europe is a lot easier. I think the
Oh,
top Rob
for sure.
is like,
Longer?
they're good. They're longer, yeah. I mean, I think that's really doable. America, it's, Zomba, and like Zomba's obviously really good, but
Anathema as well.
I watch other Robs. I'm sure other Australians watch other Robs, and I'm like, there's such a big difference to Seb, where Seb would do way better in certain ways. But Zomba just actually no, Zomba is like the exact same as me. Actually, he freaks out. He
Yeah,
can't
I don't
land,
know.
and
Like, I
then
think
no, actually, I mean, it's Zomba the same.
it's funny
But
because like I watch. So like I used to have this preconception of you where you were just like you just fish for your zero to deaths and stuff, and then somewhere during COVID, you really I think at least for me, it felt like you matured a lot in terms of your
yeah,
advantage. You stopped going for like the singular cheeses and you started like looking at like predicting certain spots and like reacting off those predictions and like getting like really good reads and kills off those moments. And I'm like, that's very reminiscent to something like Zomba. Like Zomba doesn't necessarily like zero to death that much. Like you compare him to like Anathema per se. Anathema
yeah,
feels more
a
like
freak. Yeah,
a freak, but then Zomba's like he knows how to fundamentally beat you and use Rob's like really good like kills, like the kill options in advantage state to like get those reads and those moments to outplay. And it's like wow, that's like that feels very earned, you know. And I was like yeah, like I see a lot of those stocks from you nowadays, you know, where you like like you versus was it Dono at CWC where you just
I
went
played.
super low for the suicide side B, and I was like, damn, like
Oh, I didn't play. Did I play? I don't think I played John at
maybe it wasn't
CWC.
Jono, maybe it was Go. It was
I think it was
Ghost.
go.
It was
Oh, it was
Ghost. It
go.
was
It was
Ghost.
last talk, right? And
Yeah, it was last night, and you
I
just
was
went
like,
for the
it's better than
suicide.
Akira.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would not have done that like 2 years ago.
yeah, but you
I would have done that week one, and then after week one, I'm like, I can't do that. And then I
yeah, but
just, yeah,
you did it because you saw like it was like you saw the zeros and ones. You're like, there's
yeah,
only one way he can live, and I have to just be there and like hit him for that, and it worked
yeah.
off. And it's like, damn, that was sick. The whole crowd popped up. We were like, shit. And it's like that's like some
Yeah, spooky.
that's like evolution, you know. So yeah, like it does like you do remind me a bit of Zomba as well, especially the part where you kind of just like it's not necessarily like something like a criticism that a lot of people have of you is like you kind of like forfeit the disadvantage too early, like you just like give up, like you don't you like almost it's almost like you refuse to even play it because it's like you're if you took the time to think about it, you probably could make like good decisions there. But it almost feels like sometimes you just like say fuck it, I'm just gonna nair again because like I don't care
Yeah,
anymore. And that like um, that that can like work against like some players, but like sometimes it's like you have like when people are playing super on point and stuff, it's just like yeah, you know, it feels very like one dimensional in this aspect when they verse you, and I feel like maybe that's part of that is like kind of you know you getting in your own head maybe you're like you know almost like manifesting your weakness and being like, see, this is what I mean. Like this is why this is so bad. And it's like, yeah, kind of a bit about that, like the perception that people have of the character, maybe kind of like maybe like mind controlling you a bit. I don't know. I don't know. I know for like just speaking from my experience, right? Like I also play a very like very good character. Kind of like in some ways it's similar to Rob, where it's like every matchup is like pretty doable. It's like there aren't really like there's basically no unwinnable matchups. If you like have to think objectively, on like two even players and stuff like that, right? But sometimes it's just like I feel so like after I feel so tired because it's like when I verse someone that's like better than me, it's like shit. Well, I have to just elevate myself, to like an
Yeah.
even like greater level than like what like let's say like someone of my cohort might have to, because it's just like what does she really have that's like that X factor, she doesn't have that like dominant flow chart or whatever, right? Or sometimes I'll be like I'll get mad because when I'm like getting owned by something, in my head I'm like, I hate this because people said this was this thing about Lucine.
Yeah.
They said that
Yeah. Yeah.
she's like good at this thing, or they said that like she's like so broken in this aspect. And I'm like, if she's so broken, then fucking like why isn't this working? And then in a set I get punished. And I'm like, why did I spend 30 seconds thinking about this shit that's just completely useless, right? Like doesn't help me at all, but it fucking like does psychic damage to me over time, and like, oh, it's just so annoying. So yeah, like, I think yeah, it's just very interesting in terms of like how a perception of like a character can like affect someone's mental. Definitely, like even to some practical extents, like in game and stuff like that. And obviously, people are like, you shouldn't pay like give credit to that sort of stuff, but it's like sometimes it's way easier said than done. And a lot of the time I think like, why do I like give credit? And it's like part of me, it's like maybe because I think I might not know, um I don't trust my own opinion, so I look for like other people's advice. But then when they say something like that, then it's like, well, if they know better than I do, then I should trust that. But then if I'm failing at the thing that they said that it should work this way, then it's like, does that mean I'm really bad? But then it feels so hard. Like
Yeah. It's
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 so
a lot.
Bradley, like you and Bradley must feel that, like Bradley had to deal with Wario, like
Yeah. Getting nerfed and complained about like all this like
I mean,
combos like still work, but they're a lot. They have
yeah,
to work a lot harder. And everyone's like, dude, you're a noob. And it's like, oh, unlucky, Bradley. You copped it.
yeah, and yeah, you're just like you're fucking James Franco being like, yeah, first time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
it's definitely a rough feeling. um
It's like it's really weird. It's like even like there's a lot of small things like similar where people like discount your losses or no discount your wins for like playing Rob or whatever. And then like I remember once because I was like really good in Victoria, but I did really bad at our first two majors. So it was like the first BAM and first BAM and Phantom. The
yep,
Phantom I lost to 4 par and DD. So I lost to 4. I got upset by 4 par.
yep,
It's like Ness. I've always had a Ness problem. And
yep,
I was like, I played Inkling, then Bradley in losers, and he got second. Like, what can you do?
yep.
And then
Inklинgness,
Bam,
what do you do?
yeah, and then Bam, I lost to Jono and Bin for 25th, which is like respectful in
It's
retrospect.
just unlucky, really.
Yeah, and then I started doing good. It would have been like August, like
Super
sunny side up
sunshine, oh, sunny
OHN.
side up, yeah.
Yeah, sunny side up OHN. I made top 8. So fifth, no, yeah, fifth and fourth. And then ninth for Big Cheese losing to Falco. Yeah, that was a bit evil, but like that's still pretty good for what I was expecting. But then my first good major result, which would be sunny side up, was like the best feeling ever. So I beat Joe. I think that was the one where I destroyed Joe.
Yeah.
I got 3 of Joe, and I had the best set with Inzi ever. Like actually like the best set to watch back. It's so good.
Uh-huh.
and I played Strix, and it's like, I lost to Strix, unlucky. And
Yeah.
I lost to Ignis and Winners, which was like actually I got reverse Rioed,
Oh.
which was a bit weird because there's a pause game free, and then
Oh yeah.
I was like, I mean, I still wait, but like I still got fifth, so it's like all right, and it was just a good event. And then I remember walking out because a lot of people don't know, I'm out of like everyone in Victoria, I just have I knew it says to me all the time. I just know everyone. I just have those connections with like other like video game people. I'm like really close with Splatoon people, Pokemon people,
Hmm.
like a lot of like random communities I'm just part of,
Yeah.
and they all know me. So I remember walking outside the venue and it's like being really happy and on a phone call with my Splatoon mates. And I'm not gonna say the name of who it was, but I will tell you later. Someone walked out, I was like, "Oh, Seb did good. He had the game 2 weeks early because he pirated it." And I was like, "No, you've ruined my vibe, man." And I was like, "Fuck, that sucks." Like seriously, my first good result, someone's like, "You had the game 2 weeks early when the game's been out for not 8, 9 months." I was like, "Come on, like, come on." It's like the same vibe as when someone's like, "Oh, you won because you played well," but like, fuck. Oh, that was so cringe. But then that was my first one. I was like, oh, I had better OHN, so I'm like, okay, it's not a fluke. I'm actually alright. And the OHN I beat Shrix, Ghosts, Anus, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm actually good at this game.
Yeah.
I'm not a fluke. But yeah, it was a bit. That was like a heartbreaker when that happened, and it's like similar, similar things. It's just being discounted because of the way you played the game, I guess. Like having it 2 weeks early is like actually like the most useless thing ever because I played with CPUs and stuff.
Like it
And
actually
then it
doesn't
was
mean anything, especially when it was
yeah,
like what, like sunny side up.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
like
Oh, I'll keep it up for CWC. And at
that's like
CWC, I lost to I got upset. I mean, like back then it was like hard to know because it's like the first tournament.
I mean, it's just
But I
like
still
it's just stuff like this just shouldn't. Like
yeah,
I think people say it because it's almost like the online hate thing where it's like it's so
yeah.
easy to be mean online because it's anonymous.
You know what's funny? The person who said that didn't know I was there because I was like under the stairs on the phone with my Splatoon mates. Like they were
Oh
watching,
fuck!
and then they were walking on the stairs, and they're like, "Oh, I'm like, oh my god, you're fuck, I'm gonna kill you."
You've been hit by
Oh,
the fucking anon,
oh,
dude.
actually, it was so
But
bad. Like,
you knew who it
oh,
was, but it's just like that's so shit. And yeah, that's what I mean, right? It's like it's so easy to talk bad about something, especially when I know that at least in my experiences, like whenever I would say like really dumb shit like that, it's just like yeah, like I say this as like a exaggeration, but like in my head it's like I obviously know there are things that like I have like the to give credit for, but I mean I'm just like mad in the moment, so I'll just say this sort of stuff. But then like that's not really like a great excuse because like in when you take the when I sit down and think for like 2 more minutes and I'm like, what if like they heard that like that probably would affect them, and then someone could rationalize it negatively, also they can rationalize it like a dick, and they'd be like, yeah, well they shouldn't be so affected by the opinions of other people anyways, that's like that's more on them. But then
yeah,
what kind of community would that be? Like if that's kind of the precedent of conversation or that we establish where it's like you should just not care that much about someone being like a cunt to you, because they don't matter, or like you should have the confidence in yourself. It's like that's just really really odd and not very fruitful, I think.
yeah,
It's also just not fair because everyone has different sorts of mental positions, it's like it really is unfortunate, and like I'm guilty of this too. Sometimes I like look at something stupid and I'm like, I'm like, Minecart. I'm like, this is so
yeah,
annoying, and it's like it's definitely reasonable to like get mad at stuff, right? Like I'm sure like we all get mad at stuff about the game, but it's like very important to separate the game from the player, and that's where the thing comes from about like hate the game, not the player, sort of stuff
yeah.
like that.
It's like Smash. I mean, I guess most competitive games are so like emotionally driven.
Yeah,
I like competitive because I remember because it's after lockdown or whatever. We had our majors coming back this year, um, and BAM was like so like peak. Um,
everyone was there. It
and
was so good.
I beat Jono, and it was just like such a good feeling. It was so good.
You
Um,
popped off.
and Yeah, I
I thought you lost because
However,
Jono was
no,
like this, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, so Jono won, but it was like a heartbreak,
yeah.
and
So
then you were
I
like,
like
let's
walked away from the
go.
setup. I walked away from the setup. I'm like, let's go, and everyone's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, also, because I don't want to pop up at the start because were you playing like across from me, you and Luma,
Yeah, I was.
someone.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm not gonna pop off here like in front of them, so I walked
yeah.
away. I was like, let's go. And then I played Kanaji for top 8, and I won that. It was like a pretty close game 5 as well.
Yeah, I watched that
Uh,
back.
and it's like, it's such a good feeling. And then I lost to Jono, and it's like, it was pretty bad. But it's also I made it so far. I already got the Jono win. And then he won, so I can't like feel too bad. And then Phantom, that was actually the most like draining thing ever because like I full on after that week because it's just like my whole Airbnb was like a mess. Like I hated it.
Yeah,
And
you're a
then
fool
I
for
was
doing that
sick.
Airbnb,
I
by the
had
way.
like a chest infection or
Oh, what?
something.
Okay.
Like I had like it was like recovered, but I still had like the effects of it.
Yeah.
So I had like a little shit. I did good at the pre-weeklies, and then the one like the one completely before, I was to heaven. I DQ'd went home early because I was like, I just need to chill out. And then
Yeah.
I beat Flo, which is like unlucky. It's like Flo, sorry bad. And I had Shmoo, who I've never lost to ever, and Shmoo beat Ghost, so like he's upset. And I got top 12, and that was my goal. Top 12 was my goal for Phantom. And after I beat like Shmoo, I just started crying for like 10 minutes. I was like, I've been playing so bad, and I just made top 12, and it's like, I don't understand why I'm here. I walked up to Jono, I'm like, Jono. It's so, I was like full on crying because I felt like I was like unwell. I just wasn't feel like I was playing good. I played Neil Turner, and I like did like a pretty good job.
That was an insane
Yeah,
set.
it's like a lot of small things I missed, but it's like I played. I was happy with how I played. And now I look back, but like I could have won. Like it was fine. I made top 8 because I beat Fez, which is like a little bit anticlimactic to making top 8. It's like a bit of a player gap, so it's a bit weird, but it's like fine. I still made top 8. It's like a good feeling.
Yeah.
And then the Strix loss, that fucked me a little bit. Because was it SD game 5 or 4. It was like grim. It was so grim, but still 7th at like a platinum event was still like good, and I was like so happy. It's weird because I like cried of happiness for making top 12, and I placed 7th, and I'm like, damn, I feel like shit. Like, it's always weird, right? How that works.
Yeah.
Same with like even like yesterday. It was like I walked in, like my goal is to place my seed, so I can just like add a little bit of consistency, and I upset Ghosts. I lost to Strix, and I was like mental booming, even though I like exceeded my goals, and it's like.
Yeah.
It's really it's like the
Yeah.
mental game of this is like intricate. Like it's so hard. It's like probably a bit for me. Like I started playing so young and I was so good so young that is like part of like the mental boom and also just like completely like out of the game. Like just extra variables that are just like
It's
out
kind
of
of
the game.
fucked. Like when you have you ever like thought about like majors where it's like the Saturday, like people can get so happy when they get top 8, and then the next day, like literally like the first hour of when they
lose
play,
like one set.
they just like lose like one set, or they go like they just lose the next 2 sets, and it's just like, well, now I feel like shit. Like I just lost that. Well, I guess it's over. I guess that's like similar sort of feelings for you, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely such a weird one.
Yeah.
Because like obviously, it's just because all my losses at majors is like Jono at BAM was game 5 and I was like in the lead.
This it
And
was
Strix
it was
game
so
5.
close too. Like you
Yeah,
were
it was
playing
so
so
close.
insane.
I know. And
Sorry.
Strix was like that's okay. And Strix at Phantom I SD'd with Steve and I'm like fuck.
Yeah.
And it's such a dumb SD where if I just like had an extra, literally like millisecond in my brain I would have lived. And it's like and because it's Steve, right? I SD'd without like materials and it's like over. Like you can just know it's over. And it's also was it Sephiroth game 5? I don't remember, but Sephiroth matchup for Steve is like it's a little bit off on the harder side just because it's the sword. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Seth because it was like a can pick war. It was like he played Roy into my Rob. I'd play Steve into his Roy, and he'd play Seth into my Steve.
Yeah.
And it was just like a mess. But yeah, it's like still good if I look on paper. Big Cheese, I did so bad that it hurt for like an hour, and it's like, I mean, what can I do? Like, it's like,
You just
obviously,
gotta keep trucking, man. You gotta
yeah,
move on.
yeah, it's
It's
like,
such a bad feeling.
Yeah, it's like I mean, at least I didn't mess up at the bigger ones, and I did. I'm really happy with how I did it at the pre-weeklies as well, which is like, I guess I can redeem myself a little bit. Like at the pre-weeklies, I got third, and then the second one I got third, like beating like Bradley beat Bro One, Heaven, and it's like those are all like probably Oz PR or like just at Oz PR wins, right? So it's like maybe that redeemed it a little bit. And I did really bad when I came back to Melbourne. I'm like, and that last week happened, and I just like won over Jono, won over Nick, good at CWC, and it's like now I'm in a weird spot because it's like the season has been like probably the worst I've played in years, and also the best I've played in years. So, and I'm literally like third or fourth in PR, and
Right.
third will be my peak technically. I got third on 140, but I was the one when lockdown just ended and like no one knew the min matchup, so it was
Yeah.
like min on that PR. So it's like I don't know. And anyway, we've got a little bit off topic, but I think that's kind of important,
Just a
like
little
to
bit,
talk about
but
like mental and stuff.
yeah, it definitely like I think like there's a lot of I mean the world is results driven, right? We're a very
Yeah,
result centric society. So a lot of stuff like how people feel, about certain results that might not seem as credible or as valid can be very important too. It's unfortunate like the way it works, but I think it's important for people to kind of like think about like like how someone would feel being in this position, like they got 25th, or like they lost to this player. Many times people like will look at an upset and be like, yo, like this person upset this person, and it's like that's sick. And it's like yes, it's important to like praise the upset, right? Because that's like we all want to like boost people up and shit like that, but it's also like important to consider, like oh, why did these upsets happen? Like how much validity can we give to this sort of thing and stuff. Um, but yeah, um, I've just got like a few more points, but like I'll kind of like
yeah, yeah.
spitball them because yeah, we might be a bit running out of time. But I was
Okay.
just a little bit about DLC Pack 2.
Yeah.
Just get your opinions on them. Like, what do you think?
Uh,
Should we ban any character? Should we ban Steve? Should we ban any others? How good
Steve,
do you think all of them
if
are?
I think Stephen Kaz should be banned.
Oh really?
Yeah, like Stephen Kaz should be
Oh
banned.
shit. Okay, that was
Like
way more bang than I thought.
yeah, it's like Steve. Like you start the stock. If you're playing, okay, Steve's the hardest character in the game. By the way, I like to play perfect.
Right.
It's definitely the hardest. But also if it's not impossible, all of his really good stuff is like a 2 frame window, so it's like fine. I
It's very
think
technically
that
demanding.
yeah, he's very technically demanding, and even if without the technical demanding stuff, still a very good character. With all that stuff, by far the best character in the game, and should be banned. But if Steve's banned, Kaz should be banned.
So
Also,
what's the argument for the ban? What's the logic?
Steve starts every stock. If he should start every stock with a kill, and if he doesn't, he starts every stock at 70. That is fucked. He has no. He has his win condition is way too broad. Like he wins by camping and he wins by approaching.
Yeah,
It is fucked.
he's got some really
He
good
literally
win cons.
starts. If you watch my set of Ghosts yesterday, I started every stock. I started over half my stocks at like 80%, like 70 or 80.
Goes up
I
to
play well,
or like down
and
throw.
it happens with everyone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Kaz, it's like you should die for grab every time. It's not even a hard combo to do.
I mean,
It's
there's
like
mix-ups, right? That people
there's
can
mix
do,
ups,
but like, you
but
just
you
have
can
to
cover
like.
them both.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, you can mix up DI, but a player that is good and watches the DI lines and is quick on reactions should be fine. And the Ferps tech, like whatever, like have that platform
Yeah.
thing, is literally you can't do anything. They just stand on the platform and crouch only do an option. Like it's like crouch
Yeah,
jab
because
only
the
do an option.
crouch
And
jab beats. So for a while, people thought that you just miss tech and get up attack, but then the crouch jab pops them back up, even if they
yeah,
missed. It's like a very yeah. It's actually really cool thinking about how Ferps made like I as
yeah, it's
as
a
as
go.
as
But
insane
also,
as really bad for the game as it is. I always find like cool optimizations like that. Like they're just
yeah,
cool, right? But like yeah, I agree that it's like It's not very good.
I think we're in Korea, actually. It was me, Bradley Newt, and we were talking about Kazuya, and I was talking about the Ferbs tech, and I'm like, God, I wish Ferbs was dead. And they were like, come on, man. I'm like, dude, this life would be so much better without the Ferbs
Jeez,
tech. I'm like,
Jesus.
unlucky Ferbs.
Oh my
But
god.
now it's in Smash Bros. Tour, so it's like even, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're both. I think if one's banned, they need to both be banned.
Because of this, the reason of like
I think they're
a
both. Yeah,
guaranteed stock or like a
yeah,
very linear way to get a kill.
yeah. Uh-huh. And I think
You think
Kaz has not
Bayonetta's like
everything in
that?
the game. Like now,
No, in Smash 4.
very similar. I think Steve's worse. I think Steve is way worse than Bayo.
Okay.
I think Steve. I mean, Bayo like obviously like was good, but if you didn't approach Bayo, at least you were like winning kind of. Like if Bayo got in, they could just kill you. But Steve will actually just get stronger if you're just not approaching, and Bayo will just be like doing nothing.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know how to describe it, but Steve is the most tilting experience you've ever had with a video game. Like I don't care who you are, but it's actually like it is so mentally taxing, just because you're watching in my head because I know Steve. It's like okay, I know what the win conditions are. Everything is a win condition for Steve. Every 50-50 is actually not a 50-50. It's like skewed towards Steve every 50-50.
Yeah.
And the it's just he gets so much out of so little. And
Yeah, it's really
kind of
it's pretty funny. Like you, I always found it funny where P9 is like used to be such a defender of like the just adapt don't ban,
yeah.
and then now it's just like he's it's almost like he's just drank the Kool-Aid. He's just like fuck Steve, like ban that shit, and it's
Yeah.
like damn, like the character must have done something really bad to change
It's
the minds of you know.
Steve is actually so fucked. Like
Yeah,
he
it's
did not
pretty
get play
crazy.
tested, man.
It's
And
pretty crazy.
if he didn't have the mind like the ledge like the stalling off stage,
Planking is oh man,
if
like
planking wasn't a thing, it honestly might be okay. It might be okay having Steve in the game, even though he'd still be super strong. But planking is so fucked.
yeah.
And building platforms off stage, and it's just like if they just took it off so you can only build blocks above the stage, it'll be like I'd give it up for Steve. He could stay like slightly, but no, character's so fucked.
Yeah.
Like
What about okay? So what about the other DLCs? What do you think? I'm assuming that when I asked bans, you only meant for those two. So what do you think about
um,
the other DLCs in terms of just how
I
good they
think
are? Then
they're good. Palmifera is obviously really good. They play. I think they are the easiest character to play neutral with in the game. They're very okay. They're easy to play neutral, but obviously the disadvantage is actually pretty like bad, and you have to learn it. And I don't think they get too much off of like a single hit. Like getting hit by like Mithra, it's like whatever. Like all the aerials do like 5%.
oh,
The uppy does
but
like the uppy
mean,
does like
it's not about the hit though. It's about
I mean
the fact that it continue. It's like the Sheik syndrome. It's like when
I
does this
but,
end?
I mean it. No, Sheik is way worse. Sheik is definitely worse.
I don't know, man.
Um,
I'm just like I'm getting hit, and I'm like this just doesn't end. Like
yeah, it doesn't end, but then it's like no. I mean, I'll give it up, but like I think they're like completely fine. They're definitely strong. I definitely think they're like top 5 in the game, but they're not. They're not that fucked.
it's very reassuring knowing that they've got a bad recovery like that
Yeah.
actually like makes it so much less stressful than it
I mean,
could be, you know. It's just
if I
like
get hit by Palmifera, I'm like, okay, they did something right. They've outplayed me in this situation. Getting hit by Steve was like,
yeah, I know.
God.
All right, what about okay, so Pyramissa, very very good. What about
Min Min saw.
Min
Is it Min Min
Sora,
saw Sephiroth?
Sephiroth? Yeah.
And
Min.
about that one, yeah. Min Min, like whatever, they nerfed Min Min. She's a good character, but she's like fine.
She's like fine.
She's like just completely fine.
Okay.
Sephiroth is cringe. I think Wing is designed poorly.
Oh yeah.
Like it shouldn't like last 2 stocks if you're down a stock
Yeah.
or whatever. And besides that, Sephiroth's completely fine. I like playing at Seph. It's like
I think he's really interesting.
it's
But
interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's fine.
Wing is very
It's
Wing is
designed
Wing would
poorly.
be like almost like good, like so almost like perfect. If they, I think it didn't have the damage multiplier. I
Yeah,
think.
fair enough.
I think like
I
the
think the
fact that
damage
you get
multiplier is
triple.
fine.
I think having like you having a character get like their thing, which is a wing, and giving them an extra jump makes a lot of
It's just good
sense,
enough.
and it's really
Yeah,
cool. But the extra damage is just like
yeah, that is a bit
why
cringe.
like
Yeah,
ooh
I would just make it so he gets it a slightly bit later and doesn't hold it for two stocks if it's down, like the Anubis effect.
yeah,
Or
it's
I mean,
pretty
giving him
ridiculous.
giving him the multiplier would be like honestly like it's a fair trade. Just keep him how it is. Like get rid of the multiplier. I think Saw is like cool. I think Saw is such a cool character, and people that play Saw, this swag, and characters also
The
like
swag
whatever.
guys.
Yeah, that's so swag. Um, one, two.
That's it.
I think there's one I'm missing. If
Nah.
Sephiroth.
So Min Min, Steve, Pyramithra,
Oh yeah,
Sephiroth.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
is
that's it.
six. Yeah, cool. Oh yeah,
Kazuya
that's.
and Sora.
Well, I think Saw and Kaz are the best in the game. Like they're both number one and two. Like, certainly.
You just said
I think
you, you mean Steve and Kaz.
Steve,
You
Steve and
said
Kaz.
Sora and
Steve,
Kaz. I was
Steve and
like,
Kaz. So
huh?
Steve and Kaz are like the best two in the game
Sure, yeah.
by a margin. Um,
Just
and
okay.
it's
I
like
want to talk a bit about Kaz, just
yeah, right.
because Kaz's disadvantage. It's like he's got options, but it's also like it isn't actually as like that good. You know.
Yeah.
You reckon that holds him back, or it's just like
No.
the fact that you just get a
If
equip and
if they were a
that's it.
Kaz
That's
player,
just too broken.
if they were like a box player, they would win. And if they were like really, if they were really good at like their crouch dash, they would just crouch dash through a slow move and then do electric.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
does
like
seem like
so many moves have like, iframes for no
the
reason.
future
Like
is endless with that character, sort of.
why they gave him so many iframes. Dude, Cookie Zack is gonna never lose to me with Kaz. Like it's actually like undoable how bad like that character is.
Yeah,
Like just
fair enough.
because there's so much iframes. I don't get it.
Okay,
Like
okay,
they're actually.
okay. I'm going to
Oh!
last final question.
Final question.
What do you I don't know. It sounds like it's kind of a strange kind of question to ask, right? I'm not necessarily like yeah. I mean, I'll just say like, what do you want us as a community to improve on? If you have anything to critique at all, this isn't prompted by like
Yeah,
anything recent, but it's
yeah.
just kind of like, you being someone that's been on like the receiving end of like a lot of hate, being really annoying, or you just like being someone as a member in a community that you care about, right? Anything.
Okay. Well, community based. I don't know. It's like everyone cops some hate at the top level. This is what happens. But like you guys are all stupid if you think Rob's like broken. That's all I gotta say. But if I meant tournament based because I travel a lot and I've tried heaps of different tournaments and stuff. I just want audio on setups, please.
Go to Japan.
I did watch that episode.
Yeah.
I think actually anywhere in the world, by the way, has audio on setups. When I went to America, they did. When I went to
Okay.
Korea, they did,
That's very good.
and it's just like so nice. And it's really hard because Australia's like a big country but a small community, so
We have a very small population.
it's just really hard to play this game. Like I've really been thinking recently about going to a different country for like an extended stay just to play the game. Just because if I wanted to travel here, so like say here to Sydney, it's like so committal. Whereas if I'm in like
Well,
Europe,
it's like you
it's,
might as well commit big, as
yeah,
opposed to like
yeah.
committing to like a small value.
If I went anywhere else, it's like I'd get better practice. There's a PGR in the place I've been looking at, which is like a good goal.
Where's
And
that?
if
Can
I
you share?
Europe, I want to go Europe. I've really been thinking since I was Danklin was my car. I was mental booming really hard. And he was like, "Dude, just go to Europe." I'm like, "Dude, wait, that's so true."
Just do
It's like
it.
I just go to a pub in London and get a
Save
train to
up. Save
go to
up. Go
France
to
every
Europe.
week, get a train to France every weekend, work in London, easy dobs. But I'm thinking about it because it's like I still have a lot of time in this game. I'm still young. I still got a lot of time in my life to like travel, right? So I'm not in a rush. I could do this in like a year's time, 2 years time. It's just like I don't know where the game will be in that time, which is like the scary part. But yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Like the Australian scene, it's like doing the best it can in all its aspects, but there's so many weaknesses to it. But it's not anyone's fault. It's just we live in a shitty, like not, we live in a good country, but
It's
it's like
kind of like this is the
it's just, it
product of
doesn't work.
this is a product of our environment, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it just doesn't work. After going to everywhere else, it's just like, dude, oh, it's just a bit evil. Yeah, if I was in Korea and I was like playing Smash Mate every day, I'd be the best player in the world in like 3 weeks. Like that was the best experience of my life. You don't understand how good Smash Mate was. I think Kanaji was talking about it too.
yeah, yeah, he
Oh,
was.
oh, it's so good, man. It's like I want to play Wi-Fi, but my internet at my house is like the best it can be, and I don't even get like 50 down and 10 up. Like it's like so bad. Like, oh, but anyway, the community, it's like completely fine. I think people should just like chill out, let people boom out if they need, and actually give people advice. Like if you gave people advice, that'd make the scene so much better. In America, it's a very big thing. I'm sure you've heard people say that in different countries they ask for advice a lot better. I think I was watching the Kanaji episode as well, and you're talking about how people don't talk enough after their sets
part of
and
that
about
is
what happened.
a part of that is a funny thing in Australia where we're competitive, but we're also not as disciplined or not
Yeah.
as grind centric. But a part of that is out of consideration almost about the scene. Like I think the thing that Australia has that that seems like it's something very special to us is that we're very closely knit and we're very like good vibes as a community.
Yeah, it's yeah,
I think that's something that's actually like very special that we have. But a
for
part
sure.
of that is because of like the consideration people have, and that can kind of like come across as in terms of like, hey, like sometimes someone loses, they don't want to like talk because they want to like let the person have their space or whatever, or when someone loses and they want to ask for advice, it's like, um, or the person giving receiving advice is like trying to be actually yeah I don't know, people should ask for advice more. No, you're
It was
actually just absolutely correct. I know I stopped doing it as much because I'm like something pretty stupid, like I want to like figure out the problem myself, which is like
mhm.
I know it's very like selfish and it's also very like conceited, it's very like egotistical, but it's not like I don't care. It's kind of like I want to,
It's
but then there's a lot of things in the way. But I
you
agree.
don't
Like, sorry.
you don't see how like for most people, right? The Australian scene's all they've like seen. Like some lucky people. I know you've been to Japan, but it's just a bit different because there's like a language barrier. But for like me and I guess all the other Aussies that have been to like America, um, it's like completely different and it's like unimaginable how different scenes are. Like I'm lucky enough to have been to multiple different scenes and just experience like the cultural differences, but everywhere it's different in their own way. America was like very like they needed like a perfect setup. So they had audio, like stage bands, like just like we had DT Facts. He came over and it's like, what station do I go to? I'm like, oh, we don't have stations. Like we just go to setup. And then in America, literally everyone, even if I beat or lost to them, like I beat them or I lost to them, they'd still ask me for advice. And like even the top players, I played like Larry Lur, and I play a gap like he's obviously a way better player than I am in the grand scheme of things. But I won the money match, and he's asking me for advice. Like it's like a PGR player asking for advice from like some
Yeah,
random Aussie, and
that's very powerful.
it's like yeah, it's like obviously I can't give a lot of information. I can give some, but obviously I'm like not perfect at it. In Australia, it's really hard, especially because of top like a top player, because we honestly don't use our full brains in people that below us. So if someone asks for advice, I'm like, fuck, I autopiloted. Like what do I do? But in yeah, the advice thing was very cool. From like even losing to a player or beating them, they'd still ask.
Yeah,
And it's obviously not. Sometimes it might be useless, but it's just hearing it come in words
it's
that is
just
just
like,
powerful.
what if it could be like you never know
Yeah,
if it could or couldn't be useless, so you might as well
yeah.
ask. Yeah, like
And it's just even if it's like bad info, at least you know that is like what it's just been solidified as like, oh, what I was thinking was right or wrong,
yeah,
you know. And I guess that's the main thing. Like the community is like it's a bit hard to grow because of how small we are, but it's like fine. It's like good. Like yeah, there's nothing to critique. It's just we're doing our best, aren't we?
yeah. I think so. Okay, well, I reckon it's 12:05. That's a pretty good,
Yeah.
pretty good way to end it. Thank you for your time, Seb.
All good, all good. I'm gonna
Very,
go play
very,
Pokemon now.
very much appreciated. Oh, okay. And who did you pick as a starter?
Sprigatito.
Spaghetti.
His
I
was gonna
asked that.
pick
I don't even know what any of them look like.
that sucks. It's the grass one. I was gonna pick the
Okay.
water one, but the evolution looks so bad.
Fair enough. All right.
Like,
Well, thank you very much then. I hope you enjoy Pokemon. Will I see you at EBS today?
I was gonna go, but then I realized everyone's going, and I low key just want to like chill out for a day, so I
Just
might
want to
not.
chill out. Yeah. It's a good
I'll
call.
see. Probably not. I think I need a day off.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Good luck with your chill. Enjoy Pokemon.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Seb.
All good. Bye.
Bye bye.